The moment 12 human warships activated their fractured drives simultaneously, reality itself began to scream. Captain Ryan Foster felt the Defiance shake violently as dimensional barriers collapsed around them, but this time, the familiar tunnel of twisted space-time was different. Instead of the controlled tear that had carried them to Vega months earlier, they were falling through a chaotic maze of collapsing wormholes that seemed to feed on each other. "Captain, we have lost contact with 11 other ships," shouted Lieutenant Amy Chen over the deafening roar that filled the bridge. "The quantum matrix is destabilizing faster than our computers can compensate." Ryan gripped his command chair as the ship tumbled through dimensions that should not exist. Through the view screen, he could see fragments of normal space mixed with areas of absolute void where matter simply ceased to exist. The 12 simultaneous jumps had created a cascade effect that was tearing apart the fabric of space-time across multiple sectors of the galaxy. On Luna Station, Dr. Marcus Webb watched in horror as his monitoring equipment registered space-time distortions unlike anything he had ever imagined. The network of spatial scars left behind by previous fracture drive tests had suddenly connected with each other, creating a web of instability that stretched across dozens of star systems. "Marcus, the dimensional barriers are collapsing," shouted Dr. Lisa Grant as she ran calculations on her emergency equipment. "The cascade is spreading faster than light speed through subspace. At this rate, it will reach Earth within 6 hours. Marcus stared at the data streaming across his screens, finally understanding what he had unleashed. The fracture drive had not been creating temporary distortions as he had believed. Each jump had weakened the fundamental structure of reality, and now those weakened areas were collapsing into each other like a house of cards falling in slow motion. "We have to stop it," he said, his voice barely audible over the alarms sounding throughout the research station. "There has to be a way to reverse the process." In space near Earth, the combined fleets of humanity and the Galactic Council found themselves facing an enemy that neither side had expected to fight. The expanding network of dimensional collapse was consuming ships from both fleets as reality itself became a battlefield. Admiral Jake Morrison watched from the bridge of his flagship as the Earth Fleet vessel Intrepid simply vanished into a growing void that had appeared between Mars and Jupiter. The ship had not been destroyed by enemy fire or mechanical failure. It had been erased from existence as the space it occupied was consumed by the spreading cascade. "Sir, we are receiving emergency signals from the alien fleet," reported his communications officer. "They are requesting immediate cooperation to address the dimensional crisis." Morrison's pride wanted to refuse any cooperation with the species that had threatened Earth just hours earlier, but the tactical displays showing the spreading zones of collapsed space-time made the choice for him. "Put me through to their flagship." Counselor Prime Rax Thule appeared on the main screen, his energy-based form flickering with what Morrison now recognized as fear. "Admiral, our differences must be set aside immediately. The cascade effect has reached critical mass. If we cannot find a way to stop it within the next few hours, it will consume the entire galactic core." Morrison nodded grimly. "What do you propose, Counselor?" "Our best scientists are working with your Dr. Webb to find a solution," Rax Thule replied. "But we need to evacuate as many ships as possible from the affected regions while there is still time." The evacuation efforts were hampered by the unpredictable nature of the dimensional collapse. Zones of stable space would suddenly tear apart without warning, while areas that appeared to be completely consumed by the void would sometimes return to normal reality. Ships from both fleets worked together to rescue survivors and guide civilian vessels away from the expanding danger zones. Dr. Lisa Grant had been transported to the Galactic Council flagship, where she worked frantically alongside alien scientists to understand the mechanics of the cascade effect. The combined knowledge of multiple species was finally beginning to reveal the true scope of what humanity had accidentally created. "The precursor ruins hold the key," she explained to the assembled team of researchers. "I have been studying their installations for months, and I believe they faced this exact same crisis millions of years ago. They developed technology that could manipulate space-time directly, just like our fracture drive." Counselor Zeth-Kree, whose crystalline form had been darkened by stress, leaned forward with interest. "Are you saying that the precursors destroyed themselves through the same kind of reckless experimentation?" "Not exactly," Lisa replied, pulling up holographic displays showing ancient precursor data. "I think they found a way to stop the cascade, but it required enormous sacrifice. The energy readings from their final installations suggest that they used a modified version of their own space-time technology to reverse the dimensional damage." Dr. Marcus Webb, participating via holographic projection from Luna Station, studied the ancient data with growing understanding. They created a controlled implosion. Instead of tearing space-time apart, they used their drives to compress and heal the dimensional scars. "But the energy requirements would be massive," said Venthari, the chief scientist of the insectoid Mirthai species. "According to these calculations, it would require someone to pilot a ship directly into the heart of the largest dimensional void and detonate a fracture drive from within." The implications of this discovery settled over the research team like a cold shadow. Stopping the cascade would require a suicide mission into the most dangerous region of collapsed space-time, with no guarantee that the plan would work. Captain Ryan Foster, whose ship had somehow survived its chaotic journey through the dimensional maze, volunteered for the mission without hesitation. The Defiance had been modified with the most advanced fracture drive system in the human fleet, and its crew had more experience with the dangerous technology than anyone else. "Captain, this is essentially a one-way trip," Dr. Webb warned him during their final communication. "Once you enter the central void, there will be no way to escape before the drive detonation." Ryan looked around the bridge at his crew, seeing the same determination in their faces that had driven humanity to explore the stars in the first place. "Doctor, my species has always been willing to take risks that others would not. Sometimes that gets us into trouble, but sometimes it is the only way to fix the trouble we have created." The journey to the central void took the Defiance through regions of space where the normal laws of physics had completely broken down. Stars flickered in and out of existence, planets were stretched across impossible distances, and gravity flowed in directions that should not exist. Approaching the central convergence point, reported Lieutenant Chen as the ship penetrated deeper into the heart of the dimensional storm. "All systems are holding, but we are seeing massive quantum fluctuations in the drive matrix." Ryan watched through the view screen as they entered a region where multiple dimensional tears had merged into a single massive void that was consuming entire star systems. At the center of this cosmic wound, space and time twisted in patterns that hurt to look at directly. "This is Captain Foster to all ships," he broadcast on all frequencies. "Beginning final approach to the convergence point. If this works, the cascade should begin reversing within minutes of drive detonation. If it does not work, then I hope someone else can find a better solution." As the Defiance reached the heart of the void, Ryan activated the modified fractured drive one final time. But instead of creating another tear in space-time, the drive began to compress and heal the dimensional damage around them. The ship was torn apart by forces beyond human understanding, but the controlled implosion it created began to reverse the cascade effect. Across the galaxy, the expanding voids began to contract and heal. Space-time slowly returned to stability, as the dimensional scars left behind by months of fractured drive testing were erased by the healing wave that spread outward from the Defiance's final sacrifice. In the aftermath, humanity signed the Galactic Compact, agreeing to share all dangerous technologies with the Council for safety review before implementation. Dr. Lisa Grant led a joint research initiative to develop safer FTL alternatives, while Dr. Marcus Webb spent his remaining years working to understand and prevent the kind of dimensional damage his invention had caused. Ambassador Helen Carter addressed a gathering of humans and aliens on New Geneva, a colony world at the edge of the restored space, reflecting on how humanity's greatest strength had nearly become their greatest weakness: the willingness to push boundaries and take risks that had carried humans to the stars had almost destroyed the galaxy. But it was also that same courage that had ultimately saved everyone. The memorial to Captain Foster and his crew stood in the center of the colony, bearing an inscription that captured the complex nature of human achievement. They reached too far, fell too fast, but when the galaxy needed heroes, they answered the call. Ambassador Zeftar walked through the long metal halls of Concordia Prime with heavy steps. His forearms moved in rhythm as he thought about the meeting ahead. The space station was huge, bigger than most cities, and it floated in empty space, between 3 star systems. Today would be another day of talking about the same old problems that never seemed to get fixed. The meeting room was already full when he arrived. Beings from dozens of different worlds sat around the curved table. Some had scales, some had fur. Others looked almost like the humans from that quiet planet in the Sol system. Council leader Mira Lynn nodded at him as he took his seat. Her blue skin seemed to glow under the bright lights. "We have the same issue to discuss again," Mira Lynn said to everyone. "The humans on Earth, they still will not answer our calls." Zeftar made a sound that meant he was frustrated. 300 years, he said. 300 years of sending messages to their world. Not one reply, not even a simple hello. The other council members started talking all at once. Some thought the humans were too primitive to understand the messages. Others believed they were all dead. A few wondered if Earth even had intelligent life anymore. Maybe their technology broke down, suggested Ambassador Krell from the mining worlds. "It happens to young species sometimes. Or maybe they are afraid of us," said Commander Vex from the warrior clans. "Some species hide when they first learn about the galaxy." Mira Lynn raised her hand for quiet. "The question is simple. Do we keep trying to contact them or do we give up? Their planet is in a good location for trade routes. We could use their system." Far away from this meeting, on a moon orbiting Earth, Dr. Lisa Park worked alone in her laboratory. She did not know that aliens were talking about her planet. She studied rock samples and looked for signs of life in the universe. Her lab was small and quiet. Through the window, she could see Earth hanging in space like a blue and white jewel. Lisa believed that humans were alone in the universe. Every night. She pointed her radio telescopes toward the stars and listened for signals. She heard nothing but empty static. Sometimes she wondered if anyone else was out there, but the silence always gave her the same answer. On Earth below, President Jake Morrison sat in a secret room deep underground. The room had no windows and thick walls that blocked all signals from getting in or out. With him were the most important leaders from every country on the planet. They all looked serious and worried. "Show them the latest message," Morrison said, to his aide. A large screen lit up with strange symbols and numbers. The symbols moved and changed like they were alive. Most people would think it was just random noise, but these leaders knew better. "This came in yesterday," explained General Maria Santos. "Same as always. They want us to join their Galactic Council. They want us to send representatives to their meetings." "And our response?" asked Premier Chen Li from Asia. "The same as always," Morrison replied. "Nothing. Complete silence." The truth was that Earth had been getting alien messages for over 300 years. The first message arrived in 2087, just after humans built their first permanent moon base. At first, the world leaders thought it was a joke. Then more messages came, lots more. The aliens seemed friendly enough. They talked about peace and trade, and working together. They invited Earth to join something called the Galactic Council. They promised to share technology and knowledge. It all sounded wonderful. But the leaders of Earth were not stupid. They read between the lines. The aliens also talked about wars between different species. They mentioned planets that had been destroyed. They described species that had been enslaved or wiped out completely. "We need more time," Morrison had said 300 years ago. His predecessors had said the same thing. "We need to be ready before we reveal ourselves." So Earth began the greatest secret project in human history. While the aliens thought humans were primitive or dead, Earth was actually building the most advanced space fleet the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of a ship that officially did not exist. The ship was hidden in the shadow of Jupiter, along with 999 other ships just like it. Each ship was the size of a small city. Each ship carried weapons that could destroy planets. But these were not weapons of destruction. They were weapons of protection. Every system was designed to disable enemy ships without killing their crews. Every piece of technology was built to defend rather than attack. "Status report," Sullivan said to her crew. "All ships ready, Admiral," replied Captain Ryan Torres. "The fleet is completely hidden from their sensors. They still think we are just a quiet little planet with primitive radio signals." Sullivan smiled. Humans had learned so much from listening to alien messages. Every technical detail, every weakness, every strength of alien technology had been studied and improved upon. Human ships were faster, stronger, and smarter than anything the aliens had. The best part was the stealth technology. Human ships could become completely invisible to all known forms of detection. They could travel through space like ghosts. No alien sensor could find them. No alien weapon could target them. Back on Earth, Dr. Alex Chen worked in another secret facility. His job was to turn alien technology into something even better. The aliens had faster-than-light travel, but human ships could go twice as fast. The aliens had energy shields, but human shields could stop any known weapon. "The quantum drive tests are complete," Chen reported to his team. "We can travel between stars in days instead of months. Our ships are ready." The irony was perfect. While the Galactic Council debated whether humans were too primitive to join them, those same humans had already surpassed every species in the galaxy. Earth had not been ignoring the aliens because they were afraid or stupid. Earth had been preparing. In the council meeting, Mira Lynn was getting tired of the same old discussion. "I suggest we send a small fleet to investigate their system," she said. "If they are still alive, we make contact directly. If they are dead, we claim their planets." Zeftar agreed. The Vorthak Empire supports this idea. We have been patient. Long enough. What none of them knew was that their own messages had taught humans everything they needed to know about galactic politics. Humans knew which species could be trusted and which ones could not. They knew about the endless wars and the broken promises. They knew that the galaxy was not the peaceful place the Council pretended it was. Most importantly, humans knew that the only way to survive in the galaxy was to be stronger than everyone else. Not stronger in order to conquer, but stronger in order to never be conquered. The meeting on Concordia Prime ended with a decision. A small fleet would travel to Earth within the next few months. They would make contact with humanity one way or another. If only they knew that humanity was already watching them, already ready for them, and already far beyond anything they could imagine. Captain Ryan Torres was drinking his morning coffee when the alarms started screaming. He dropped his cup and ran to the main control room of the Earth Defense Command Center. The massive screens showed something that made his blood run cold. Hundreds of alien ships were heading toward Earth, but these were not the peaceful Council ships they had been expecting. "What are we looking at?" Torres asked his sensor operator. Lieutenant Amy Foster pointed at the screen. "Two different fleets, sir. They are shooting at each other. Big ships, lots of weapons. They are fighting a war and heading straight for our solar system." Torres grabbed the emergency phone. Within minutes, every leader on Earth knew that humanity's time of hiding was over. The galaxy had brought its war to their doorstep. President. Jake Morrison was pulled from his sleep at 3 in the morning. He listened to the report with growing alarm. The aliens were not coming to make peaceful contact. They were coming to use Earth's solar system as a battleground. "How long before they reach us?" Morrison asked. 18 hours, sir," replied General Maria Santos over the secure video link. "Maybe less if they speed up." Morrison made the hardest decision any human leader had ever made. "Activate Protocol 7, he said. "It is time to show ourselves." Protocol 7 was the plan they had hoped never to use. For 3 centuries, Earth had prepared for this moment, while praying it would never come. Now the time for hiding was over. Dr. Alex Chen was already at his post in the underground command center. His screens showed the status of every human ship in the fleet. Green lights everywhere. All systems ready. All ships waiting for orders. "The quantum drives are online," Chen reported. "All vessels can be in position within 6 hours. Admiral Kate Sullivan was aboard her flagship in the shadow of Jupiter when she received the activation order. She had trained for this moment her entire career, but seeing it actually happen felt unreal. "All ships, this is Admiral Sullivan," she broadcast on the secure channel. "Protocol 7 is now active. Begin deployment to Earth orbit. Silent running until further orders." 1,000 ships began to move through space like shadows. Each ship was 3 kilometers long and carried a crew of 5,000. They moved without making a sound or leaving any trace that alien sensors could detect. On Earth, President Morrison prepared to address his planet for the first time about the truth. Every television, every radio, every internet connection would carry his message. After 300 years of secrets, humanity was about to learn they were not alone. "My fellow humans," Morrison began his speech. "Today I must tell you something that your governments have kept secret for 3 centuries. We are not alone in the universe. Alien species have been trying to contact us for 300 years. We have been listening to them, learning from them, and preparing for this day." The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Some people panicked, others celebrated. Most simply stood in shock as Morrison continued. These aliens have been fighting wars among themselves for thousands of years. Today, their war is coming to our solar system. But I want you to know that we are ready. We have been preparing. Earth is not defenseless. Commander Nick Hayes was piloting the lead squadron of human battleships toward Earth when Morrison's speech reached him. He could hardly believe that the secret was finally out. His ship, the UES Liberty, was one of the first vessels built in the hidden shipyards. He had spent 10 years training for this mission. Liberty Squadron, form up on. My position, Hayes ordered. We are about to make history. Behind him, 12 more ships moved into formation. Each ship carried weapons that could disable an entire alien fleet without killing anyone. Humans had learned early that survival in the galaxy meant being able to defend themselves without becoming the monsters they feared. Dr. Lisa Park was still on her lunar laboratory when the president's speech reached her. She sat in stunned silence as she learned that everything she believed was wrong. Humans were not alone. The signals she had been searching for were already being received by people who knew exactly what they meant. Her phone rang. It was General. Santos, Dr. Park, we need you back on Earth immediately. You are now our chief advisor on alien contact protocols. Your transport will arrive in 2 hours. Back on Earth. The secret underground facilities that had been hidden from the public for centuries suddenly came alive with activity. Thousands of people who had worked in complete secrecy were now preparing to reveal the greatest achievement in human history. The alien fleets were getting closer. Long-range sensors showed that the two sides were the Vorthak Empire and the Ashanti Federation. They had been fighting each other for over a century. Now they were bringing their war to human space because they thought it was empty territory that no one would defend. Sir, the alien fleets have entered the outer edge of our solar system, reported Lieutenant Foster. They are still fighting each other, but they are heading for the space between Earth and Mars. General Santos studied the tactical display. Perfect. That is exactly where we want them. The human battle plan was simple and brilliant. Let the aliens enter the solar system. Let them start fighting in human space. Then reveal the human fleet at the moment of maximum impact. Admiral Sullivan watched from her command ship as the alien vessels engaged each other near the asteroid belt. Explosions lit up space as the two fleets fired massive energy weapons at each other. Ships on both sides were being destroyed. They are treating our solar system like their private battlefield, Sullivan said to her bridge crew. Time to show them who this space really belongs to. All ships report ready, Admiral, replied Captain Emma Stone, Sullivan's second in command. 1,000 vessels in position around Earth, Mars, and the asteroid belt. All stealth systems active. Dr. Chen was monitoring the alien technology from Earth. Their weapons are exactly what we expected from the intercepted communications, he reported. Our shields can handle anything they have. Our weapons will go through their defenses like they are made of paper. The moment came sooner than expected. One of the alien ships broke away from the battle and headed directly toward Earth. Its sensors had detected the radio and television signals from the planet and realized that there was intelligent life there. Alien vessel approaching Earth, reported Torres. Range 2 million kilometers and closing. Morrison made the final decision. Admiral Sullivan, you are authorized to reveal the fleet. Show them what humanity can do. Sullivan smiled as she gave the order that would change galactic history forever. All ships, decloak on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. Around Earth, around Mars, around the asteroid belt, and throughout the solar system, 1,000 human battleships suddenly appeared from nothing. They had been completely invisible 1 second and were blazing with running lights the next second. The effect on the alien fleets was immediate and devastating. Both sides stopped fighting and turned all their sensors toward the human ships. Their communication channels exploded with confused chatter as they tried to understand what they were seeing. "This is Admiral Kate Sullivan of the Earth Defense Force," she broadcast on all alien frequencies. "You are fighting in sovereign human territory. You will cease hostilities immediately and withdraw from this system, or we will make you withdraw." The Vorthak commander was the first to respond. "Humans? Impossible. You are primitive. You do not even have spaceflight." Sullivan's response was calm and confident. "Commander, you are looking at 1,000 of our most basic patrol ships. We suggest you reconsider your assumptions about human capabilities." Commander Nick Hayes was grinning inside his helmet as he listened to the alien confusion on the radio channels. "Liberty Squadron, let us give them a demonstration. Target the lead Vorthak battleship. Disable their weapons and engines, but do not harm the crew." The human ships moved like they were dancing. They were faster and more agile than anything the aliens had ever seen. Blue energy beams reached out from the human vessels and touched the alien ships with surgical precision. Within minutes, 6 alien battleships from both fleets were floating helpless in space. Their weapons were offline, their engines were dead, but their life support was untouched. Not one alien had been killed. The galaxy had just learned that humanity was not only more advanced than anyone had imagined, but also more merciful than anyone had dared to hope. The silence in space was more frightening than any weapon. Both alien fleets floated motionless while their commanders tried to understand what had just happened. 6 of their most powerful warships had been disabled in less than 30 seconds. By enemies they could not even detect until moments before. Ambassador Zeftar was aboard the Vorthak flagship when the human ships appeared. His 4 arms shook as he watched the tactical display. The humans had not just surprised them, they had made the entire Vorthak fleet look like children playing with toys. "Run full sensor sweeps," Zeftar ordered his crew. "I want to know everything about these human ships." The results made no sense. The human vessels showed technology signatures that were centuries ahead of anything in the galactic database. Their hulls were made from materials that should not exist. Their weapons used principles that Vorthak scientists had only theorized about. "Sir, our sensors cannot penetrate their hull plating," reported the ship's science officer. "Whatever they are made from, it blocks all known scanning methods." On the Ashanti Federation command ship, Council Leader Mira Lynn was having the same problem. Her blue skin had turned almost white with shock as she realized how badly they had underestimated the humans. "How is this possible?" she asked her tactical officer. 300 years ago, they were still using chemical rockets to reach their own moon. "Perhaps they were not as primitive as we thought," replied Commander Kell. "Perhaps they were learning from our communications while we thought they were ignoring us." The human fleet hung in space around them like a protective shell. Every alien ship was surrounded but not threatened. The message was clear without words. You are outmatched, but you are safe if you behave. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of her flagship and watched the alien fleets struggle with their new reality. She had spent decades preparing for this moment, but actually seeing it happen felt strange and wonderful. "Open a channel to both fleet commanders," Sullivan ordered. "It is time for a proper introduction." Captain Emma Stone handled the communications. "Channel open, Admiral. Both fleets are listening." Sullivan spoke in a voice that was calm but carried absolute authority. "I am Admiral Kate Sullivan of the Earth Defense Force. You have brought your war into human space without permission. You have endangered a populated world with your weapons. This ends now. Zeftar was the first to respond. Admiral Sullivan, the Vorthak Empire had no knowledge that this system was occupied by an advanced species. Our sensors showed only primitive radio signals. That is because we wanted them to show only primitive radio signals, Sullivan replied. Humans have been monitoring galactic communications for 3 centuries. We know about your wars, your politics, and your technology. We chose not to reveal ourselves until we were ready. The implications hit both alien commanders at the same time. If humans had been listening to galactic communications for 300 years, they knew everything. Every military secret, every diplomatic weakness, every technological advancement had been transmitted openly because everyone assumed humans were too primitive to understand. Mira Lynn found her voice. Admiral, if you have been monitoring our communications, then you know about the Galactic Council. You know that Earth was invited to join our alliance. We received your invitations, Sullivan said. We studied your alliance very carefully. We noticed that most species who join your council end up fighting your wars whether they want to or not. We decided to wait until we could join as equals rather than as junior partners. Commander Nick Hayes was listening to the conversation from his position near the disabled alien ships. He could not help but smile as he watched the alien crews working frantically to restart their engines. Human technology had shut down their systems so completely that they would need days to get back online. Liberty Squadron, maintain position around the disabled vessels, Hayes ordered. Provide assistance if they need help with life support, but do not let them restart their weapons. Dr. Lisa Park had arrived on Earth just in time to watch history being made. She stood in the command center next to President Morrison and General Santos, still trying to accept that everything she had believed about humanity's place in the universe was wrong. Dr. Park, Morrison said, we need you to prepare first contact protocols. These aliens are about to learn who humanity really is. On the lunar surface, hidden facilities that had been secret for centuries suddenly opened their doors. Massive construction yards revealed themselves, showing the aliens that human industrial capacity was far beyond what anyone had imagined. Hundreds of additional ships sat in various stages of completion. Dr. Alex Chen was coordinating the technical demonstrations. From his command post, Admiral, recommend we show them our manufacturing capabilities. Let them see that the 1,000 ships they can detect are just the beginning. Agreed, Sullivan replied. All shipyards activate external lighting. Let our guests see what 3 centuries of preparation looks like. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Hidden bases on the Moon, Mars, and the asteroid belt suddenly blazed with light. Massive shipyards that could build vessels the size of cities became visible. Construction facilities that dwarfed entire alien worlds showed themselves. Zeftar made a choking sound as the true scope of human preparation became clear. How many ships do you have? He asked. Sullivan's answer was simple and terrifying. Enough. The truth was that humans had built more than just ships. They had created an entire hidden civilization in space. Millions of people lived and worked in the secret bases throughout the solar system. Human technology had advanced so far that they could build anything they needed using only the resources of their own star system. Captain Ryan Torres was monitoring alien communications from Earth. Admiral, both alien fleets are requesting permission to withdraw from the system. They seem very eager to leave. Not yet, Sullivan replied. We need to have a longer conversation first. Commander Zeftar, Council Leader Mira Lynn, you came here to fight a war in our backyard. Before you leave, You are going to explain why we should not consider that an act of aggression against Earth." The alien commanders realized they were in serious trouble. Not only had they been outmatched militarily, they had also committed what could be considered an act of war against a species that was far more powerful than their own. "Admiral Sullivan," Mira Lynn said carefully, "the Ashanti Federation had no intention of threatening Earth. We were pursuing Vorthak forces who invaded our territory. The Vorthak Empire was responding to Federation attacks on our mining colonies," Zeftar countered. "We had every right to defend ourselves." Sullivan listened to both sides and realized she was hearing the same old story that had been repeated throughout galactic history. Everyone always claimed they were defending themselves, while attacking others. "Here is what is going to happen," Sullivan announced. "Both of your fleets will remain in this system until we can arrange a proper diplomatic meeting. You will cease all hostilities while in human space. Any ship that fires a weapon will be disabled permanently." General Santos was watching the tactical display with satisfaction. "Phase 1 complete, Admiral. The aliens know we exist, and that we are not to be underestimated." "Ready for Phase 2? "Initiate Phase 2, Sullivan confirmed. "Send the message to the Galactic Council. Let them know that Earth is ready to join the conversation, but we will be doing it on our terms." Dr. Chen activated the most powerful communication array ever built. The message that went out was simple but would change the galaxy forever. "This is Earth calling the Galactic Council. We received your invitations over the past 3 centuries. We have been preparing our response. We are ready to meet now. Send your representatives to our system. Come in peace, and you will be welcomed. Come with weapons, and you will be stopped." The message was transmitted with power levels that reached every inhabited world in the galaxy simultaneously. There could be no doubt about human technological capabilities after a display like that. Ambassador Zeftar stared at his sensor readings and realized that everything he thought he knew about galactic politics had just changed forever. Humans were not primitive newcomers who needed protection and guidance. They were the most advanced species anyone had ever encountered. The scariest part was not their technology or their weapons. The scariest part was their restraint. They could have destroyed both alien fleets in minutes, but instead, they had chosen to disable them without killing anyone. That level of precision and self-control suggested a species that was not only powerful, but also wise. For the first time in galactic history, someone had appeared who might actually be able to bring peace to the endless wars that had plagued civilization for thousands of years. The response from the Galactic Council came faster than anyone expected. Within 6 hours of Earth's message, every major species in the galaxy was demanding answers. The communication channels buzzed with panic, confusion, and fear as the reality of human capabilities spread through civilized space. Admiral Kate Sullivan read the incoming messages with growing amusement. Some species wanted to know if the humans were friendly. Others demanded proof that Earth's demonstration was real. A few suggested immediate military action against this new threat. "Admiral, we are receiving over 3,000 individual messages from different worlds," reported Captain Emma Stone. "Most want to open diplomatic relations immediately. Some are offering trade agreements. A few are making threats." Sullivan smiled coldly. "Any species making threats should be reminded that we just disabled 6 of the galaxy's most powerful warships without breaking a sweat. What do they think they can do that the Vorthak Empire and Ashanti Federation could not?" Commander Nick Hayes was still patrolling near the disabled alien vessels when his sensors detected something new. 3 more alien fleets were approaching the solar system, but these ships were moving carefully and broadcasting peaceful intentions. "Admiral, We have incoming vessels from the crystalline hierarchy, the machine collective, and the hive worlds, Hayes reported. They are requesting permission to enter the system for diplomatic purposes. Sullivan considered the situation. Word was spreading fast through the galaxy, and everyone wanted to see the humans for themselves. This was the moment Earth had been preparing for since they first received alien communications 3 centuries ago. Grant them permission to enter, but they stay in the outer system until we finish our business with our current guests, Sullivan ordered. And make sure they understand that any aggressive action will be met with immediate disable. President Jake Morrison was in constant communication with world leaders as the situation developed. Every nation on Earth was represented in the command structure, and decisions were being made collectively for the first time in human history. The Chinese premier wants to know if we should activate the defensive platforms around Earth, Morrison said during a secure conference call. Not yet, replied General Maria Santos. We want to show strength, but not paranoia. The orbital platforms stay hidden until we actually need them. Dr. Alex Chen was monitoring alien technology from his command post and making discoveries that amazed even him. Admiral, the alien ships are trying to scan our vessels with every type of sensor they have. Our stealth coding is not just blocking their scans, it is actually absorbing their sensor beams and converting them to power for our own systems. Excellent, Sullivan said. Let them scan all they want. Every attempt will just make our ships stronger. The first real test came when Ambassador Zeftar made a mistake. Frustrated by his inability to understand human technology, he ordered his science officers to attempt a more invasive scan of the nearest human ship. The reaction was immediate and precise. Commander Hayes received the order from Admiral Sullivan and executed it perfectly. His ship, the UES Liberty, moved so fast that alien sensors could not track it. One moment it was 1,000 kilometers away, the next moment it was directly beside the Vorthak flagship. Vorthak vessel, Hayes broadcast. You just attempted an invasive scan of a human ship without permission. This is considered an aggressive act. Stand down immediately or face the consequences. Zeftar realized his error too late. Human vessel, we apologize. Our scans were for scientific purposes only. Your intentions do not matter, Hayes replied. Your actions do. You have 30 seconds to power down all sensor arrays or we will power them down for you. The demonstration that followed became legendary throughout the galaxy. Hayes did not fire any weapons or use any force. Instead, his ship emitted a low-power energy pulse that reached out and touched the Vorthak vessel like a gentle hand. Every sensor on the alien ship simply stopped working. Not damaged, not destroyed, just switched off by technology so advanced that it could selectively shut down individual systems from a distance. The message was clear. Human ships could do anything they wanted to alien technology. How did you do that? Zeftar asked in amazement. We learned about your technology by listening to your communications for 3 centuries, Hayes explained. We know your systems better than you do. We can turn them on, turn them off, or make them do things they were never designed to do. Dr. Lisa Park was studying the alien reactions from the command center on Earth. They are terrified, she reported to President Morrison. Not just of our weapons, but of our knowledge. They realize that we have been watching them and learning from them while they thought we were primitive. The real shock came when Council Leader Mira Lin made her own attempt to test human capabilities. Instead of scanning, she tried to communicate directly with the human ship computers using standard galactic protocols. What happened next surprised everyone, including the humans. The human ship AI not only received her transmission, but responded in perfect Ashanti Federation language, with technical specifications that were more accurate than anything in their own databases. Human vessel, Miralyn transmitted. Your computer just corrected errors in our own technical manuals. How is this possible? Captain Stone answered for the fleet. Council leader, we have been studying your technology for 300 years. We have found and corrected thousands of errors in galactic databases. Our computers contain more accurate information about your own ships than your own computers do. The implications were staggering. Not only were humans more advanced than anyone had realized, they also knew more about galactic technology than the species who had created it. They had not just been listening to alien communications, they had been improving on alien knowledge. Admiral Sullivan decided it was time for the final demonstration. All ships, prepare for formation flying. Let our guests see what precision looks like. What followed was a display of coordination that defied belief. 1,000 human ships moved through space like they were connected by invisible strings. They performed maneuvers that should have been impossible for vessels of their size. They moved in perfect synchronization while maintaining positions so precise that alien computers could not detect any variation. Impossible, whispered the science officer aboard Zeftar's ship. No species can coordinate that many vessels with that level of precision. We can, Sullivan replied, having monitored their communications. Human ships are not just individual vessels. They are parts of a single organism. Our AI systems are linked in ways that allow us to think and act as one entity when necessary. The formation flying demonstration ended with all 1,000 ships taking positions around the alien fleets in a perfect sphere. Each human ship was exactly the same, distance from its neighbors. The mathematical precision was so perfect that it looked like a work of art. General Santos was watching from Earth with deep satisfaction. Phase 3 complete, Admiral. I think our guests understand that resistance is futile. Begin Phase 4. Sullivan ordered. Open diplomatic channels with all incoming fleets. It is time to lay out our terms for joining galactic civilization. President Morrison activated the planet-wide communication system to address Earth's population again. My fellow humans, the first day of our emergence into the galaxy has been a complete success. We have shown that we are not weak newcomers who need protection. We are the strongest species in known space, and we will use that strength to build a better future for everyone. Dr. Chen was already working on the next phase of the plan. Admiral, all human technologies are ready for selective disclosure. We can show them enough to prove our superiority without revealing our most advanced capabilities. The alien commanders were beginning to understand that they were witnessing the birth of a new galactic superpower. Humans had not just joined the galactic community, they had redefined what was possible for any species to achieve. Ambassador Zeftar made a private communication to his homeworld. The humans are not what we expected. They are not conquerors or destroyers. They are something far more dangerous. They are teachers. They have knowledge that could transform our civilization, and they have the power to enforce their lessons, Habbas. Leader Mira Lin sent her own message to the Ashanti Federation. We came here expecting to find primitives. Instead, we found our superiors. Recommend immediate diplomatic overtures at the highest level. The humans hold the future of galactic civilization in their hands. As news of the human demonstration spread throughout the galaxy, every major power began making the same calculation. Fighting the humans was impossible. Ignoring them was suicide. The only rational choice was to join them and hoped they were as benevolent as they seemed. The age of human dominance in the galaxy had begun not with conquest, but with a simple demonstration of overwhelming superiority tempered by perfect restraint.